All right. So now welcome to the world of exceptions and what's going on in exceptions. And again, for goodness sakes, please make sure that with all of these that you've looked at a textbook before. What we're going to do is what happens when things go wrong is kind of what we're doing here. So if I was to this on page 220 exercise 7.1, they want you to go and they want you to start with the invoice total. It's a pretty pared down version of the way, at least I remember it. This is it right here. And so, you type in 100 or whatever, you click the calculate and there it goes, right? So that's sort of we're back to the invoice thing again. So let's have a look to remind ourselves what the code actually looks like. If we expand this, we go to the firm invoice total and we look at the calculate. There it is right there. It's pretty straightforward, really. A bunch of decimals. There's not even any ifs or anything. It's just a straight plunge right through. Again, we call that a sequence. It's a do this and this and this. All right. So now what we get is we just did number one. Number two, add a try catch statement to this method, the calculate click, so that it catches any exception that the two decimal method in the convert class might throw. All right. So let's actually, I wanted to bring you to a slide that was for that. Right there. I think that's the one. Convert to decimal, blah, blah, blah. If this thing blows up, it's going to go and it's going to do, oh, actually, well, that's not really what I want it to do. That's what I want it to do. I want to basically say, hey, well, actually, that's almost the code. Anyway, if this blows up, yeah. I'm just making sure that this is like, this says throw new exception. I don't want a new exception. I want, this is a fairly, the two decimal conversion is kind of a fairly normal one. So I'm going to be waffling around too much. There's our subtotal, decimal, catch. All right. All right. All right. Why don't we basically play with that? So this looks like the thing that they want us to do. All right. So basically, we're going to try to get the subtotal, and then basically it says enter a valid number to the subtotal. What I don't like about this, by the way, is that if any of these actually cause the error, then we're telling the user to do something that's not related. And honestly, I've been doing that too much time with my level of technology, constantly blaming the user for something. But anyway, I don't care. We're gonna go and do that one. So right there, I'm gonna say try. Oh, and I guess, by the way, again, because you read the book already, but the way this works, it's try to do something, and if it's going to explode, it'll catch the explosion. It'll catch the exception. That's how that works. All right. So up here, we're going to try to do all this. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, it blows up. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go try, and I'm going to hit the enter, and I'm going to do this, hit enter again. And at this point now, that try is going to go right to that. And we're going to go end this, sorry, and then catch. Oh man, I forgot how to do that other thing. Anyway, catch. All right, so try catch. So try to do this. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, try to do this. And what are we trying? We're trying to do this and basic catch. And so the response we want for something bad is, rather than actually have it pop up with a bad error message, we're going to control the error message. We're going to control it with a neat little doodad called message box. Message box. Message box, we're going to say show us, and it basically takes in two values. This one here, I'm going to do the please, enter a valid number. This is right off the slide for subtotal. okay? And then comma, and then my second message is going to be entry error. And let's just see what happens. So I'm going to go semicolon. So no errors. That's awesome. I'm going to go. And first of all, let's put in something good. And it works. Let's put in our ABC. Bang. So entry error, the second argument is the name of the box. And then please enter a valid number. We go okay. And then it puts us back. Pretty neat. Pretty neat, right? So that kind of accomplished what the first one was supposed to do. Number 3 says add code to the try block that checks that the user entered a value in the subtotal text box. Well, I guess we could do that. You know, I don't think we did this one actually right, because this is basically catching anything that's gone wrong. I want to actually target something that's wrong with the decimal parse. So let me take a couple seconds, look up the actual exception, because there are some exceptions that are defined in C#, and we can use that exception. So let me pause this and then look it up and get back to you guys. Yeah, it took me 3 seconds. There was a couple slides above that actually said that. So, for example, if we're doing a 2 decimal conversion, which is interesting, they're asking me to check for that, but the actual lab assignment was using the decimal parse, right? And you were telling me that this is from the convert class. So, anyway, it doesn't really matter because it's the same exception. But in the convert class, the 2 decimal thing, if something's going wrong, it's going to be either a format or an overflow. In the decimal class and the parse method, it's almost the same stuff. So what I can kind of do is I can say, hey, can you catch a format exception? That's kind of where I'm going with this. And so right, oh, Murray, come on, help me out. Give me some sugar here. I know, yeah, catch the exception. So I'd go basically format exception, I think, right? Yeah, there it is, catch format exception. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over. I'm going to go exit. And so instead of just catch for anything, I'm going to go catch, and I'm going to go format exception. So if it's a format exception, it's going to blow up for that reason. So let's run it again, and let's go like 100, and it works. Let's go ABC, and I got enter a valid number for that. And I don't know what else could go wrong in here, to be honest, but if there was some other problem, if there was some other problem, then it would probably end up being its own sort of exception error. All right, but I still think it's better. The last one was just catching anything. Now what I wanted to do is I wanted to catch a specific thing. All right, so number 3 was basically I got to make sure it entered that a value is entered into that box. All right, well, for that one, I think I'm going to actually have to throw an exception for that one, because I think what I'd like to do is come on, there, throw my exceptions. Yeah, right there. So if some kind of thing's happening, then throw a new exception, right? So, and then, yeah, so we're going to throw a new exception. So let's move that aside. And so decimal subtotal is equal to parse of that. So how about before we get there, I'm going to say if the text, oh no, yeah, that's right. They've hit the calculate button at this point. If text sub, why are you not helping me out with this? Sub total dot text. Okay, so you should know what that is. If that is equal to nothing, this might be You know when you start to lose your entire mind and you've kind of forgotten everything? All right, let's do that. So you're mad though. Why are you mad? What's going on? Why are you mad? Convert cannot explicitly. Oh, very common problem, at least in my brain. I'm trying to do an assignment, not a comparison. So at least that should work fine. You're still a little bit mad, I'm noticing. Why are you mad now? You're expecting some parentheses. Yeah, that's fine. I'll give you some parentheses right there. How about that? Did that work? Are you better now? Okay. All right. So anyway, the more languages you know, the less languages you know. All right. So now what I've got is I've got the parentheses. If this is the case, what I wanted to do is I wanted to throw a new exception. So I'm going to go throw a new exception. And that exception is going to be must have something in subtotal. Okay. Let's test that boob out and see how he's working. Let's go. All right. Nothing. Boom. So now we actually got a nice generated exception, which is good. Not totally what I wanted, right? It'd be nice if I actually had a way to actually trap that exception. And I'm going to pause again to have a quick peek at that. All right, so I ended up overcomplicating it. Here I was about to create my own little exception on all that, but why? Why did I have to do that? What I could have done is basically done this. If this is nothing, then show an error message. Otherwise, do the rest of this. And so now that should functionally do the same thing. So, hey, I like the little indenting there. So now I'm going to go start. And I'm going to go, I'm not going to fill nothing out. I'm going to go calculate. Hey, must have something in subtotal. Boom. Hey, must have something in subtotal. Boom. ABC, enter a valid thing. Boom. All right. So I think that's good. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that, I guess, for number 3. And then number 4 is going to be very similar. It says add a try block for range checks to make sure that the person's entering a value greater than 0 and less than 10,000. So after we get our subtotal, I suppose the next thing we should do once we got our subtotal is basically say if the subtotal is greater than or equal to 0 and and the sub, okay, I'll fix that in a minute. The subtotal is less than, or is it less than or equal to or less than? What are you looking for? Less than 10,000. So if it's this, so greater than or equal to. Okay, so if it's that, and by let's get some space. Hit the old do this. And then let's move on down. We're going to do all that fun stuff. All right. Otherwise, what I'd like you to do is do that message box again. So message box, show, open parentheses, subtotal must be between, I'm going to say between 0 and 10,000, even though that's not what I actually coded. It has to be less than 10,000. Anyway, that looks good. I like it. Let's run it. And let's, again, test out the stuff. First of all, test what works. Looks good. Okay, don't put anything in. Oh, you gotta have something. You gotta have something in there. Okay, ABC. How about that? ABC. Nope, you got to put a number. Please enter a valid number. Okay, awesome. How about negative 10,000? How about that? No, the value's got to be between 0 and 10K. How about just shy of 10K? Works great. All right, love it. That's some wonderful unit testing going on there. All right, I will stop for a second. I'm definitely going to stop before going on to 7.2. Now we'll see. We'll see. I'm having a lot of fun, but anyway, that was a good sort of looking at trying to enhance the total invoice total application. The next dude is a little bit more significant. We're going to be looking at the future value application, and that will be on the top of 221.